So let's come back to Trump, his motivation. You have suggested there a moment ago that it's his funders and that he's wanting to protect someone. But I guess that's kind of what was implicit in what you were saying. Would you mind expanding on that?
Yes. People in the U.S. can't see this, right? Let me just say, I think everyone agrees that no one was privately funding Jeffrey Epstein. It looks like it is a foreign operation. There was enough money involved. And the two main suspects have been Saudi Arabia and Israel.
Okay, so we hear a lot about Israel. Paint me the picture about the Saudis then.
Just that they're big and powerful, and there's a lot of turmoil in the Middle East. I don't know if you've heard about that. Mm-hmm. It's been going on for some time. Mm-hmm. Sorry, this is completely off topic. I remember a few years ago, one of my talking partners was Jewish. Never, ever, ever talked about Israel. Didn't care about. We talked like for an hour a day, and it was all about politics. And after like 15 years of doing this, just out of the blue, he said to me, "Hey, Ann, aren't you glad I never talked to you about Israel? Because all that time, we could have been talking. I could do an hour a day. Nothing's changed."
Right.
Exactly as it always was. So it's an area of turmoil. Obviously, the U.S. has a big thumbprint on everything that's going on. So being able to influence politics, influence decisions, influence the State Department, influence members of Congress, influence the president, influence powerful movers and shakers, all of that is going to be valuable to someone in such a perilous area of the globe.
Okay, so just so I've understood this, either Israel or Saudi. This is the Saudis.
The general assumption.
Are in Trump's ear saying, we don't want this coming out. And you've come to that because it's the only so there's a jump we've had in this conversation,
right,
which is that we've gone from, I guess, Epstein being some sort of lone actor,
right.
There's people behind him too. There's a state actor behind him. So, would you mind taking me on that little leap?
Yes, I mean, for a while I thought instantly that was everybody's question: where was he getting his money? He wasn't investing money. He has these rich people just handing him over the mansion. So it sort of seemed at first, among the theories that were run through, that actually he was in a gay relationship with one of these very, very wealthy men. That he was, my idea was he was like the concierge of the sex club. So everybody would pay in and he'd arrange for the nice places where they could come and have sex with 14-year-old girls. And older. I mean, some, the dignified men were only having adulterous sex with 20-year-olds as some gross, disgusting 60-year-old man. But there were 14 to 17-year-old girls that some of them were having sex with. So he was like the concierge of this club. But there isn't enough private money that he was bribing them into giving him more money. But they're rich enough that somebody would have offed him. None of these theories made sense. And there's so much money involved to buy an island, to buy all these properties, to be flying this private plane and flying it for so many other people, for his assistants. I mean, I know there are a lot of rich people, but this is an awful lot of money. A single individual can't explain it. It's got to be a state sponsor, and a state sponsor, it makes more sense. They would have some interest in having control over what is, and I don't particularly like this, but the world's policeman, the most interventionist and powerful country in the world.
Right, because that's the other part. Just to tie this from the earlier part of the conversation is the revelation in Florida. No, we can't do anything because he's intelligence asset. Because what are the possibilities that he's an American intelligence asset? Is that ridiculous?
I think so. I think it was someone who was friendly to the country, either Israel or Saudi Arabia. I mean, this is utter speculation, talk about not knowing facts. That's why I would like to know the name of the person at the State Department who called Alex Acosta. I think it was someone who was friendly to whichever country it was. And by the way, maybe it's neither of those two. Those seem the most likely suspects, who just called and made it up.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm not. If you told me it was a state actor, I don't think I'd be surprised. But I think we both admit there's a leap there, that we're speculating, how has this guy got so much money? I mean, would it be ridiculous to think he has played this game of compromat and bribery to such a level that he's just, it's like in the history of paying attention to this kind of stuff, no one's achieved this kind of stuff. He's got such terrible compromise. He's managed to get unbelievable amount of money and riches and favors out of people. Is that a ridiculous line of thought?
The reason I think it is that you would need so many. I mean, how many billionaires are there in the U.S.? And what are they giving them each? $100 million? I don't think that adds up to enough. But also, if they have that much money, they're not going to pay a bribery. They're going to pay a hitman. One of them will. I mean, that's kind of a dangerous game. You have you're threatening the lives, livelihoods, and reputations of massively wealthy individuals. It's a lot cheaper to knock Jeffrey Epstein off than to keep writing checks.
Do we have a sense of how much money he was worth? Hundreds of millions.
It must have been. I have no idea, but I'm very bad with numbers.
And then if we take the line that it's a state actor, for a state to do that, they must, if they actively know that he's doing this kind of paedophilia, because it might be a sort of another situation where they don't know that he's getting involved in paedophilia or he has that sort of behavior. It's kind of an asset gone wrong. This kind of, but. For them to actively know that he's deliberately doing these kind of sex traps with young women, it takes quite a lot to sort of imagine a state that would do that. Do you think that that's what it's kind of come from, a state like, no, we should try and entrap these powerful people in pedophile rings?
Whether that was part of the original directive, they'd have to know about it. I mean, you couldn't not know. Well,
they certainly know after 2005 and 6, yeah.
But
that
investing that kind of money, you got to be paying a little bit of attention and notice the 14-year-old girls who are late because of soccer practice. You'd have to know. And I think among the things they did find in his mansion, there was a Saudi passport for him, and I think some other passports.
Saudi, Israeli, Austrian, I think.
There was another one, yeah.
And so there were various states. It's kind of, we're vague there, but you seem to be not going down that rabbit hole with me. Okay, well, I'll read your non-verbal cues.
That is speculation.
Thanks for watching this clip from The Winston Marshall Show. You can click here to watch the full episode. And for more clips like this one, don't forget to subscribe. And as always, be well.